Greetings, fellow Whovians, and welcome to Timey Wimey Review. With a lot more Doctor Who content being uploaded on BBC iPlayer from the 1st of November, particularly the classic stories, gives a lot more opportunities for Whovians to rewatch some of their favourites, or even for new Whovians to check out some of the classic stories, as well as some of the other modern New Who episodes in the past. But that got me thinking, where do you start? So I thought I'll try and help and answer this question for you today, but with a little bit of a twist, because back in the 80s on BBC they did a 5 Faces of Doctor Who, where they basically showed one story from each Doctor's era leading up to Peter Davison's debut as the 5th Doctor. So I thought I'll try and do this here with my 13 Faces of Doctor Who, picking out one story or one episode from each Doctor. So hopefully you'll enjoy this video, and if you do, please like, share and subscribe. It will really help out this channel, and thank you for those who have subscribed already and supporting this channel. Honestly, I absolutely love and appreciate you all taking the time to watch my videos. Let's start off with the first Doctor, the William Hartnell era, and surely you got to start at the very beginning with an unearthly child. Obviously, if we're going to be doing this strictly on what's available on BBC iPlayer, that story is not going to be uploaded. I've talked about that plenty of times in other videos. Check them out if you don't know already. So I'm not going to really go over that on here. But if you do manage to watch The Unearthly Child, you can watch it on BritBox, or it is available on DVD as well. Yeah, do check that out because it's a great story, particularly the first episode. It is must-see TV, probably one of the greatest opening episodes to a TV show. But if we are strictly sticking to BBC iPlayer, then let's not worry. Let's go with the Daleks, the second story that was broadcast in Doctor Who, and obviously a big introduction for the Daleks that really put Doctor Who on the map. And it is quite a tense 7-part story. So if you have not watched it before, that's probably where I would start. Obviously, you get to know the Doctor more, and as well of his companions, his granddaughter Susan, and the school teachers Ian and Barbara. If I had to go for a second choice, I would probably say the Romans. There's something about that story that I just quite like. It's supposed to be quite a light-hearted and fun story as the crew of the TARDIS travel back to ancient Rome, but there's some very dark elements in there, with Ian and Barbara being captured and as slaves, as well as the Doctor and Vicky just having the time of their lives. So do check that out as well. On to the second Doctor, the Patrick Troughton era, and we could go for a Cyberman type of story, the Web of Fear, the Power of the Daleks. They're supposed to be uploaded on BBC iPlayer, but for me, I'm going to pick the Mind Robber. I think it's just a very psychedelic story to sort of get yourself into, with the second Doctor, Jamie and Zoe, all sort of trapped in this void with no TARDIS. The TARDIS exploded, and yeah, trapped in this weird sort of void with all these characters from fictional books. And yeah, it's just a bit of a trippy story, but a fun story. On to the third Doctor, the John Pertwee era, and again, a lot to choose from. You know, there's some great stories out there like Inferno, or any of his tanglements with the Master. There's loads of them to choose from. But for me, I'm going to pick Spearhead from Space, as that was the first story that really exploded Doctor Who into colour back in 1970. And obviously with an introduction of John Pertwee as the third Doctor as well, so you're kind of getting a little bit of an element of a regeneration in this story. Unit, classically established here in the story even further, with the Brigadier and of course Liz Shaw. And also it sets up the third Doctor being trapped on Earth as a punishment from the Time Lords for his exile as well. So obviously he has to sort of work for units to earn his bread, I suppose. But for me, yeah, this is the one that has the Autons as well, and you can see the similarities between that story and Rose as well from New Who. And yeah, it's a great fun B-movie sort of action, especially with the scenes when the Autons come to life. On to the fourth Doctor, the Tom Baker era, and obviously there is a lot to choose from his 7-year reign, but the one that immediately springs to mind for me, and probably not going to be a surprise for many Whovians, is Genesis of the Daleks. A highly regarded story. For many, it's one of the best, if not the best story from the classic era of Doctor Who. If you're not even a fan of classic Doctor Who as such, I would highly recommend that you check this out. You know, if anything out of the classic Doctor Who stories, this is the story that you really do need to check out. Fantastic performances from everyone. Tom Baker, Elizabeth Sladen, Ian Marter, Michael Wisher, just to name a few. They're amazing performances, a gripping story, and you've got Daleks at front of centre and the origins of the Daleks. But what would be your second pick for the fourth Doctor Tom Baker era? Let me know in the comments. For the fifth Doctor, the Peter Davison era, I'm, very tempted to say the Caves of Androzani. That's probably one of my favourites. So it's always between that and Genesis of the Daleks. But for this particular choice, I'm going to go for Earthshock. For starters, you've got the Cybermen returning into their former glory. A new suits, new voices, and very impactful in this story. You've also got the nice dynamics of the fifth Doctor with Tegan, Nyssa, and Adric. And again, just great drama. Very tense, and obviously a story or an adventure which has devastating consequences for one of the companions. For the Sixth Doctor, the Colin Baker era. Now, for me, probably the best story from the Colin Baker era, the Sixth Doctor era, is Revelation of the Daleks. But for this video, I don't want it to be too Dalek heavy with these choices. So I'm going to pick Vengeance on Varos, a very different story, very sort of mirroring what's kind of happening kind of now in terms of television and reality TV, and exploring the sort of themes of violence on television as well. Yeah, it's a very unique story. But let me know in the comments if you've watched that before. Is it one of your favourite from the Sixth Doctor era? The Seventh Doctor, the Sylvester McCoy era, and that was the last of the classic Doctors from its initial run from 1963 to 1989. And for this one, it's quite sort of open for me, really. Depends on kind of what mood you're in for. Again, Remembrance of the Daleks is one of the top ones, but again, don't want it to be too Dalek heavy for this list. But you've also, depends what mood that you're in. You've got the wacky Happiness Patrol, even got some of the sort of cheesy but not quite great stories from, especially from season 24, such as Paradise Towers or Delta and the Bannermen. For this one, though, I'm going to go with The Greatest Show in the Galaxy. Again, it's a very out there, very different sort of story in Doctor Who, but it kind of really just sort of puts a sort of an umbrella into kind of what the Seventh Doctor era was going with, trying these new stories, and it is very much like it just feels like a Seventh Doctor adventure, a very sort of 80s type of Doctor Who adventure as well. Pretty well produced, in terms of given the circumstances when they was making this story. I'll go that into more detail with that in a future episode of future review of Doctor Who on the Timeline Review YouTube channel. But yeah, you got Psychic Circus, you got Scary Clowns, you've got a werewolf, some great performances as well in this story. That's what I would go for. I was very tempted to say also The Curse of Fenric. That would definitely be my close second on this one. The only thing is it kind of really goes into towards a bit of an ending sort of arc of Ace's story on that one, so you're kind of missing a little bit of that out. But again, a brilliant story as well. Eighth Doctor, Paul McGann era. Well, it's going to have to be the TV movie from 1996. Sadly, there's not that many televised episodes of the Eighth Doctor, so we're gonna have to go with that one. But yeah, it is definitely a window into what Doctor Who could have been when it was produced on a joint venture from the BBC and people from America. Again, I've reviewed that, so check that video out on the channel. But yeah, I think it's something that it's sort of a glimpse into sort of like that transition area of actually the classic era of Doctor Who and going into New Who. So yeah, it's definitely worth checking it out. Now we're into New Who with the Ninth Doctor, the Christopher Eccleston era. And yeah, obviously short run, but a very memorable one, absolutely. And this one, yeah, sort of toyed with this one. Took a bit more sort of harder to choose, but I'm gonna go for the Empty Child and the Doctor Dances two-part episode. Scary stuff, fun stuff there by Stephen Moffat, and yeah, introduction of Captain Jack Harkness. You see the relationship between the Ninth Doctor and Rose ever evolving as well. Yeah, some classic sort of Doctor Who scary moments as well. I've mentioned previous times, such as obviously "Are You My Mummy" and the gas mask thing, which I've just mentioned in my scariest moments video. Check that out, please. So yeah, that's my pick for the Ninth Doctor. But again, you could sort of broaden it even further. You could even go for the season 1 finale, series 1 finale, I should say. But that's my pick: the Empty Child and the Doctor Dances. The 10th Doctor now with the David Tennant era, and again another sort of difficult choice. I think most of the New Who ones I really had to sort of think how I would sort of do this in a where to start type of episode, or this 13 Faces of Doctor Who. And for this one, again, you could pick a load. You know, Human Nature, Family of Blood is a brilliant story and brilliantly performed by David Tennant as the 10th Doctor, or John Smith. But for this one, with it being the 60th anniversary, and we've got the we've got the 14th Doctor, and we've got the returning Donna Noble, I'm going to go for a 10th Doctor Donna Noble episode. And the ones I would pick are either going to be the Fires of Pompeii, where you see little appearances of Peter Capaldi and Karen Gillian, or I'm going to go for the Unicorn and the Wasp. It's just mainly because, or even actually Planet of the Ood as well, mainly just for the dynamics between the 10th Doctor and Donna. You know, there's some really great moments and some brilliant chemistry between the two from these 3 episodes. So yeah, I'm split between these 3 now, especially when I've just thought of Planet of the Ood off the top of my head. So let me know in the comments, which one out of the 3 would you pick? For the 11th Doctor, the Matt Smith era, I'm going to go for the Rings of Akatem. Now, I know it's not the most popular of episodes. It's a little bit divided in terms of how good it is in the Whoniverse, I should say. But obviously, for me, the moments with Matt's speech, with the whole storytelling, is just amazing. And I've said this before plenty of times on the channel, I miss Matt Smith a lot in Doctor Who. He was brilliant as the 11th Doctor, and yeah, this speech kind of just captivates it all, really. For the 12th Doctor, the Peter Capaldi era, I'm going to go for Heaven Sent. It's just kind of just summarizes the kind of turmoil with what the 12th Doctor was going through. Obviously, not only because he just recently lost his companion Clara, but kind of the whole sort of theme that the 12th Doctor had with the "Am I a Good Man" sort of theme that was, you know, questioning his sort of morality, as it were. And yeah, this is a brilliant performance from Peter Capaldi. Definitely one of the best stories or best episodes from the 12th Doctor era as well. Yeah, if you've not seen it in a long time, or you've not seen it before, check that out. Last but not least, we have the 13th Doctor, the Jodie Whittaker era. And again, I was a bit sort of split with which way I would go with this one. Do I go sort of a historical adventure? Because I've not really picked that in this list, such as Rosa, or the Demons of the Punjab. Or do I go a little bit sort of fun and silly with Kablam? Or, you know, do I sort of go straight to the end with the power of the Doctor, and, you know, with kind of having the whole of her era and the classic sort of, or just the Doctor Who celebration roll into one. But for this one, I'm going to say Spyfall, that 2-parter, mainly because we get an introduction of the Master, which I haven't picked on this list at all. So we've got to have a Master story somewhere if I've got Daleks and Cybermen. And yeah, this is the one for me. Yeah, like I said, it kind of just captures some of the funny, quirky moments from the Jodie Whittaker era, starting off her second season with some and going that sort of Doctor Who does James Bond, and that's what's the one of the things that I love about Doctor Who. It can be literally anything, really. We've had horrors, we've had historical adventures, and we've kind of had a little bit of sort of homages to other genres or other shows, and this is one of them. This one paying homage to the James Bond kind of spy thrillers. And yeah, and obviously spinning on the twist with a reintroduction of the Master. So that's what I would pick out of this list for the 13th Doctor. And that is my list. I hope you found this helpful. I've quite enjoyed doing this one, so let me know in the comments below your thoughts to my list. Do you agree? Do you disagree with me? All opinions are welcome, but also which episodes or stories would you pick? I would love to see your own list of 13 Faces of Doctor Who, so please put those in the comments. And also, which episodes or stories are you looking forward to watching on BBC iPlayer when those episodes and stories are uploaded on the 1st of November? Which one are you going to go for first? Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please like, share and subscribe. Hit the cloister bell for more notifications. Come say hello and follow me on Facebook and X, and do check out my other fantastic Doctor Who content on the Timey Wimey Review TikTok page and right here on the Timey Wimey Review YouTube channel. And as the good doctor once said, I will always remember when the Doctor was me.